Good afternoon. I'm Anna Zivian. I am co-chair of the Ocean Knowledge Action Network Interim Steering Committee that came out of the Ocean Knowledge Action Network development team.
And I'm Linwood Pendleton. I am the new executive director of the Ocean Knowledge Action Network's International Project Office, based here in Paris, France.
I will talk to you a little bit about the history of the Ocean Knowledge Action Network and how we got here. In 2016, in December, there was a meeting for the Future Earth Ocean Knowledge Action Network in Kiel, Germany. And at that point, a number of folks decided that it would be a good idea to form a knowledge action network. There were 4 sponsors for the original idea. Those were the International Oceanographic Commission, WCRP, SCORE, and Future Earth. And this was when Future Earth was developing several knowledge action networks. After that meeting, and when the sponsors agreed to form the committee, they selected members to serve on an interim development team. That development team was selected and first met in October of 2017. And for the next 3 years, we had several both virtual and in-person meetings and came up to develop a strategic framework and implementation plan. The development team was really broad-based with expertise in policy, advocacy, social sciences, natural sciences, journalism, health, and many other areas and disciplines of work, and really diverse in terms of geography, with nearly 20 members from 6 continents around the world. And we focused quite a bit on talking about how to develop, share, transfer, and amplify knowledge. And that really formed the basis of the work that got us to the point where we developed the implementation plan and figured out how we might work with the current UN Decade of Ocean Science for Sustainable Development and move forward into hosting an IPO, International Project Office. In August of 2020, during the pandemic year, we issued a call for International Project Office, and we were really happy with the responses we received to that. And we subsequently selected the office here in France with a consortium of French research and funding agencies, and were able to find the executive director, to whom I now pass the word.
Thank you, everybody. Well, while the development team was working on the Ocean Can Strategic Plan, the UN Decade of Ocean Sciences was also developing, and I mentioned this. And in my role as a professor and researcher at the European Institute of Marine Studies, I've had the pleasure of serving first on the executive planning group for the decade, and now on the interim decade advisory board. And one of the things that's really at the heart of the decade is that we need to involve stakeholders and decision makers in the co-design of ocean sciences from the start. And this is easier said than done. And as we've tried to work with the decade-endorsed programs and projects, we've really realized that transferring knowledge from people who have studied how to incorporate stakeholders in the co-design of science, people who have worked in the co-design of science, people who want to bring stakeholders into their science, and stakeholders who want science, bringing them all together is incredibly difficult and really involves a new way of networking. So I've been working with Anna and the Interim Steering Committee and some of our key partners to really try to figure out what is modern networking that involves people, involves modern technology, and how do you build this around key networks. And so this IPO for the Ocean Can right now is really focused on identifying the networks that we'll work with to try to transform the way we do these global knowledge action networks in support of the UN Decade, and really to make sure that as these decade programs and as decade science rolls out, It includes stakeholders in the best way possible, and that means by being informed by how to do it, by working with social scientists, sustainability scientists, transdisciplinary scientists, as well as natural scientists, and really helping to make sure that this knowledge is breaking down barriers that exist to the transfer of information like this, like linguistic barriers, cultural barriers, and even technological barriers. People work in different platforms, they're in different kinds of networks, and sometimes the challenge is just finding each other. In other cases, the challenge is dealing with the huge amount of information now that's being generated, in part by this incredible inertia that's been created and excitement around the decade. So really, this is the focus of our work in the IPO and the Ocean Can right now, trying to create that network of networks with a core set of networks that really are essential to making sure that co-design science is a key part of the Ocean Decade, and Future Earth and its networks working in the ocean realm are a central part of that plan. So thank you very much for this opportunity. We don't have a presentation because we've really just gotten started, but we look forward to working with Future Earth, participating in the Governance Council, and to transform how we do global networking of science and knowledge.
Thanks.